how much exactly did you make last month?
14.5 thousand.
You're a service provider. You're doing web design, web development.
It's website development. So I build websites basically.
What is kind of like the biggest lesson if you learned from working with us?
It was really helpful that you convinced me to hire people. That was something that was very hard for me to do. When I was working as a freelancer, I never had that many clients within a single month. And it was mostly because I didn't think it was even possible to handle so much workload. I really needed someone to just take responsibility for that advice and tell me, yeah, just do it.
All right, welcome back to the channel. I got a very cool client named Dimitris who's cracked the 5-figure-a-month mark with his online service providing business. We're going to talk about what exactly he does, how he got this result, and the biggest learnings that he got from working with us. So without any further ado, let's crack right into it. All right, Dimitris, good to have you here, my man. Thank you so much for joining. Most important question right away. How much exactly did you make last month in US dollars?
Well, it was about 14.5 thousand, something like that. In revenue closed.
Nice.
Not how much it was paid in the bank. It was around 60% of that was paid to me.
Cash. Upfront cash collected. That's pretty good, man. Congrats on that. Now, what's really interesting is you're a service provider. You're doing web design, web development. What is it called exactly?
It's website development. So I build websites, basically. It's the non-fancy way to say it.
Yeah, not a fancy way to say it. Now, what I always find interesting, like 14K in a single month, is that what kind of like the typical website builder makes in your niche?
It's hard to say. It's definitely a personal record for me. So when I was working as a freelancer, I never had that many clients within a single month. And it was mostly because I didn't think it was even possible to handle so much workload. And it was so many problems that one stacked on top of another, and it created that limited belief. And it all began with low prices. Because with low prices, if I charge like $200 for each website, like I used to do years ago, I would need tons of websites within a single month to reach the 14K. So it's physically impossible.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, when you came to us, you were like, I don't think it's possible. You had a lot of thoughts about that. And I'm like, dude, trust me. Okay. Just do what we say. And then it will go well. And then, boom, we hit that record month last month. I'm super duper happy for you because also, from my side, you're hardworking, you're very smart, you clearly know what you're doing. I think the last piece of the puzzle that was always missing for you was you didn't get paid according to your knowledge, to your skill set. And now, we're slowly building that up. And in my opinion, even 14K in a single month is nowhere near where we can get you. It's just a start. So, of course, we want to keep scaling and all that jazz. And the cool part also there, let's talk about that, is you're definitely working on it yourself as well, but also, hired an assistant who does a bulk of the simpler work for you. Is that right?
Well, bulk is an overstatement, but it's a start. I definitely need to hire more people. He's not an assistant per se, he's a developer. So the thing with what I do as with providing this service is that it involves a product we have to build each time. So it's not something that's ready. It's not something I have pre-built and I'm pre-selling like a course or something. So we have to build it. And by we, it means that someone has to do that work. And this is where hiring helped a little bit because I don't have to do all the work myself.
Yeah.
So why I need to keep hiring people to do that.
Yes, sir. And that's kind of like the whole thing behind this system is like you getting the clients in on the front end, you start delegating. We just started delegating with you so you don't have to do all the work yourself, and we're delegating more and more. And yeah, I guess it's scarier for some people because they're like, oh, now I have to, delegate this to someone. But ultimately, in my opinion, and you're just at the beginning of this journey, it always pays off in that way. You on the front end make more money, you're doing less work yourself, and you can scale this whole company up and focus on the big needle movers. Now, one thing I want to emphasize here, because some people might hear these numbers and they're like, yeah, but Dimitris probably has big social media or something like that. But we're literally just doing everything on Fiverr with you, and you don't have any big social media brand at all. Is that right?
Yeah, none whatsoever. I mean, I do for personal reasons, but none But even know that. So everybody came either from Fiverr or from Upwork that I used to use a few years ago, and the profile is still active. I don't use it, but occasionally someone will search me. The algorithm will throw me to them, and I have some leads from there, and it was also from old clients, but the vast majority, like I think around 75% of the revenue of April was from clients that either were new clients that came to Fiverr, or they're older clients that also came from Fiverr and reached out for new projects.
Crushing, man. Crushing. Nothing else to say for that now. We're on pace to probably hit more of these 10K plus a month consistently. Now, do you have any plans that you want to do with that money? Do you know what you want to do with it? Invest it, go on vacation or something like that?
Well, hard to say. I don't think my first instinct would be to spend the money on a vacation or cars or anything. My first instinct would be to use it to scale the business more, because it doesn't solve my immediate problem. My number one problem right now is that I don't want to do development work. And in order to do that, I need to be able to scale enough to support all the expenses, including the developers I need to hire.
Yeah.
Oh, that frees up my time. This is my number one concern. And I would say this is my greatest goal for this year, at least. So it's not revenue. It's not about how much revenue I make or what I will do with that money. I think I can make that decision next year or something. But it would be great if I could just hire enough people so I don't have to do the grinding development work by myself. So I can focus on sales, building more channels to drive new clients in and stuff like that.
Exactly. And that's exactly the goal. And I'm happy to hear that you don't want to spend the money on dumb things. Yes, we can get to that later. No, but yeah, your mind's at the right spot, man. Now, when you look at, the FBM program that you've now gone through, what is kind of like the biggest lesson? If there is any lesson that stood out where you said like that was definitely like a game changer that you learned from working with us?
Are you asking about the FBM program, meaning the courses, or overall, just including the live calls and talking with you?
Overall, yeah, including the live calls, including the one-on-ones we've had, the program. It's like any lesson that kind of stands out for you.
Well, it's not a single lesson in the form of a mantra. It's not something that you would see on a reel, but it was really helpful that you convinced me to hire people. That was something that was very hard for me to do, because it's not that I didn't know that I have to do it, but always there was in my mind that, yeah, this month I can do it myself. I can hire next month. And next month became 1 year, and 2 years, and 3 years, and it was impossible. Even for you, it took 3 months, I think, of repeating the same information until I was desperate enough to actually act on it. So, yeah, that was, I think, the biggest game changer for me, because it completely shifted on how I look things, and it completely shifted how I approach sales calls, how I approach, because it's very different now. Now I don't really care. I'm like, I don't care. The developer will build it. I just have to sell it. When I was building it, I was like, yeah, do I really want to work with that guy? That's another person's problem. Or will be when I hire more people. So that was a big game changer for me. And of course, what I also said before, it was about raising my prices. And I still don't think I have found the perfect way to sell my service. It's something that we're working on right now. But I'm much further ahead than what I was last year. So those...
You mentioned a couple of very interesting things, price points, where you were before, and so on and so forth. Let's touch on that. Before you came to us, where were you in terms of like skill set, in terms of business and revenue, and also what were the prices that you were charging back then?
Another complicated question. Well, before I came to you, so like for the past decade, I wasn't building websites. I was building custom software, which had the problem that I didn't have a specific niche. So I was able to do everything. And because I was technically capable of doing everything, I thought, sure, yeah, I will do everything. And that was very hard to find how much I could charge. for a product. So before I joined, I decided to focus on websites. But then the other problem was that I needed to build the Fiverr profile. So for a year, I was charging very, very low. So I could build a customer base, I could build reviews on Fiverr, I could build the profile. And after that, I was so used to selling on low prices, like for 100 per website or something like that, 10 times lower than what I'm selling now, that I didn't have any idea how high it could go. I didn't even know how to approach the problem. I know it sounds stupid, but I really needed someone to just take responsibility for that advice and tell me, yeah, just do it. And sometimes you need to pay enough to listen to someone.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would just be watching YouTube videos of Hormozy and I would do it, but I didn't. So
yeah. I mean, you bring up a good point. You know, you watch YouTube videos on Hormozy, which I also watch. I love his content, but then at the same time, I think this year alone, and we have May now by the time of this recording, I probably spent like $100K in mentors and masterminds. Right? So it's like you said, like weirdly enough, I kind of learn more with those because I just freaking pay the money. So, you know, there's this saying like those who pay attention. And like you said, like sometimes you have to do that in order to make things work and in order to actually implement it, in order to feel enough pain, as you said so nicely, to execute on the right things. So that's really cool, man. Yeah, I mean, look, you know, from my perspective, like I said, and you may not believe me just as much as when you started, I think the 14K a month is just a freaking start. You got the development power, right? You got the know-how, you got the skill set, you got the person that is working with you, and you got the skills of hiring more people to delegate with those. You're slowly building a client base. So I think, you know, it's absolutely possible that the next milestone is 25K, 30K a month. And then, you know, things are just going to look more and more bright for you because your cash collection rate is very high. Your operational profit is very high. And, dude, like I said, you know, I want to meet you in person as well. We've only worked now the last, you know, all this time in over Zoom. But I believe when you crack 25K, 35K, you can do some more traveling as well on top of that. And then, you know, we'll grab some steak together or whatnot. Now,
yeah, absolutely. Quick thing. That's an interesting thing you mentioned. It's not that I don't believe you, but you cannot see the mountain when you're climbing the mountain.
Yeah.
I believe you. So if someone asks me, yeah, do you believe when Max says that? Well, yeah, but when I go to bed at night, I cannot wrap my head around it because there are so many things that need to be done until I get there. And it's hard because I don't understand them all. It's very hard to wrap your hand around it. But I do trust you that so that I don't believe you.
No, all good, man. All good. Like I said, it'll be faster than you think. It will be much faster than you think. So I'm super confident we'll get you there. I'm super hyped for you to get there. And if you get inspired by this and you say, wow, I also want to start a service providing business in the B2B or in the B2C realm, maybe also you just want to become a coach or consultant, you can go ahead and book a free consultation call with me and my team. There's a link right down in the description below. You click on that. If it lets you through, it means we still have a spot open. Our calendars are getting pretty full these days. So if you get inspired by that, you also want us to help you get started or scale and automate more, then this link is for you. Link is down in the description below, and I'll talk to you very soon.